Bradley Garcia, the gunman from the 28-hour standoff in Gering, makes his first appearance on a litany of charges in Scottsbluff County Court. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News, powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, charges have been filed against the 37-year-old Scottsbluff man who held 3 hostages at gunpoint during a long standoff this week in Gering. Bradley Garcia is facing charges including 9 counts of attempted murder, use of a deadly weapon to commit a felony, 3 counts of kidnapping, possession of a deadly weapon by a prohibited person, and 6 counts of discharging a firearm in city limits. Garcia was taken into custody after police used chemical agents to get him to come out of his hiding space in the home. Scottsbluff County Sheriff Mark Overman says he's pleased to report that law enforcement officers did not have to fire any shots during the standoff, but the loud booms and percussions were a result of agents using a variety of munitions and equipment. FBI SWAT teams and negotiators from the Omaha and Denver field offices, as well as the FBI's hostage rescue team out of Quantico, Virginia, worked with the local state and local partners to bring the incident to a safe conclusion. Well, it appears the solar field at the Landers Soccer Complex in Scottsbluff could once again be at full operation by 2024. Grant Otten with Nebraska Public Power says the owners of the solar array will begin to remove the damaged solar modules in the next few weeks, and once removed, they will be replaced with new panels. The damaged solar panel modules will be recycled, and the developer who operates the facility has made it a priority to ensure none of the damaged modules end up in the landfill. Otten says the developer indicated the rest of the components and equipment are in good condition, and if all goes according to plan, the facility could be back online by the end of next year. Well, coming up after the break, Jason Jorgensen catches up with Sean Callahan for this week's edition of Husker Chat.
Looking for free instead of fees? Platte Valley Bank can help you keep your finances moving forward with no ATM fees. Whether you're headed to the lake, the mountains, or just to the grocery store, you can enjoy the freedom of free ATM access anywhere, anytime. Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and in fact a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance and in retrospect a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Once again, thanks for tuning in to Husker Chat. I'm Jason Jorgensen. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment as we talk Husker football with Nebraska football insider Sean Callahan of Husker Online. Sean, Nebraska's won 2 in a row. Now 2-2 on the season as you look back to Saturday night, which kind of turned out to be a different game. There was a weather delay and all of that. What was your biggest takeaway for the Huskers in that win?
Well, I just think it was another game that helped establish the identity of what this football team is and what they want to be. I mean, they're going to play great defense at the line of scrimmage. They're going to shut you down on the run. They're going to try to win on third downs and get off the field. But then on offense, they're a body blow team. They're just going to pound it at you and run it downhill. And I think early in that game, they attempted to throw kind of taking advantage of the numbers they were seeing. But Louisiana Tech brought some pressure and they had trouble with that. So they just said, you know what? We're going to bring in tight ends, an extra offensive lineman, a fullback, and we're just going to pound it right at you. And that produced over 300 rushing yards for Nebraska. They lead the Big Ten right now in rushing offense. They're number one in the nation right now in rushing defense, also yards per carry. So they've got a lot of things they can hang their hat on, despite the fact they've played a fairly difficult schedule here these first 4 weeks of the season.
One thing that you have to be enthused about is a month in, they found an identity. There's some teams out there that can't say that.
Yeah, and I think they just want to keep it simple. They want to play downhill. They want to play physical. They want to hold on to the football. And I felt like they did those things the first 2 weeks other than hold on to the football. And I think that's the difference between Jeff Sims and Heinrich Harburg. A lot of the plays and results of the offense look similar. The difference was the turnovers. Heinrich Harburg has only had one turnover in 2 weeks, and it was on a blindsided sack he took 2 weeks ago. Jeff Sims, as we know, in the offense had 8 turnovers in those first 2 weeks. So they've done a much better job of taking care of the football. And in a lot of ways, the Colorado game was kind of set up to look like what last week's game was going to be. I mean, that was a 7-7 game at halftime, just like the Minnesota game was. But the turnovers kind of let that game get out of whack. And Nebraska's margin for error is just not much. They cannot turn it over and expect to come back because they don't really have the receiver deep threats and guys that they have and the quarterback play, to come back from a big deficit. So they've kind of figured out who they are, and it will be interesting now against one of the best teams in the country.
How about this passing game? Do you think they're going to have to be creative to try to get some guys free? Because sooner or later, I mean, they're going to continue to see 8 men, maybe 9 guys in the box.
Yeah, Michigan's going to play physical coverage on them. They're going to see if these guys can get off the line and get open. So that will be a challenge because I don't imagine the Wolverines are going to commit much safety help. It's going to be probably lock them up and see if they can beat us. And Michigan's probably feels confident that their defensive backs are going to hold up against Billy Kemp and guys like Alex Bullock and Marcus Washington. The key is what can Nebraska do on first down. Last week, the Huskers, Jason, ran for 195 yards on first down plays. Now they only threw it for 2 yards on first down. So they were pretty one-dimensional in what they wanted to do. In fact, they ran it, I believe, 22 times on first down, and they only threw it 4 times. So they were very, they didn't sugarcoat what they wanted to do as an offense. Can they do that this week? I mean, that's going to be the challenge. So there's going to be a lot of those 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8s in this game. And are they going to be able to convert some of those against a really, really talented defense? It's probably one of the biggest storylines.
Today on Husker Chat, we're joined by Sean Callahan of Husker Online as we preview Nebraska's matchup with Michigan. Sean, I've seen some folks out there complaining a little bit that, this is boring football. But if you look at the statistics, they're scoring at about the same amount they did last year. And to me, if it keeps them in games and it gives them a chance to win, who cares?
Yeah, they're playing a style of football that protects their defense as well and allows them to be fresh and play fast. They huddle. They run it a lot. So the time of possession is going to heavily favor Nebraska in most games if they can get first downs. Then on the flip side, the defense comes out fresher and ideally gives this offense better field position. So I think that's the key. You've got to build something that works for who you are. And this is not an elite Nebraska team by any means. I think we're all just thinking, can they find a way to 6 wins? I mean, that was kind of the goal for a lot of folks to start the year, maybe 7, some thought, but I think that's kind of what you have to look like. How do we get this team to take a step forward and build around what they do well? And Matt Rule and his staff, they're listening and they're looking at things. Matt Rule has said, he goes, we're playing this way. Number one, because that's how they've won at Nebraska in the past. But number 2, the people that pay my salary, they want us to play this kind of football. They want us to be physical. They want us to run the ball. And, I want to listen to what they want because they're the fans. And they also have the players that can do those things.
What's your read on Michigan? Kind of an interesting first month of the season for them. They have been effective, but not dominating. And it had to be different for them not having Jim Harbaugh there for a pretty big stretch.
Yeah, you look at Michigan, their schedule. I mean, it has to be one of the easiest, if not the easiest, in all Power 5 football. I believe they haven't left Ann Arbor yet. They didn't have Jim Harbaugh for the first 3 weeks, but I mean, UNLV, East Carolina, Bowling Green, then opening the conference play with Rutgers. Come on now. I mean, they have just protected this team with this schedule where, they could kind of figure out who they are and develop their team, without having to really play A football. I mean, they could just kind of play a B minus game and handle most of these opponents, which they did. They played a lot of different players, a lot of different snaps. Blake Corum hardly has had to work this year. And Edwards, the other running back. So this will be interesting. If Nebraska can put some pressure on Michigan and make this game, tough on them early, it will be interesting if they can get in the fourth quarter. But Michigan comes in, as you know, about a 17.5-point favorite. That is the closest point spread they've had by far all year. They were, I believe, 26-point favorites a week ago against an undefeated Rutgers team.
A 2:30 kickoff. I would think the fans will be pretty juiced for this one to help the Huskers out as much as they can to try to upset the Wolverines.
Yeah, they dodged a bullet. I mean, it was going to be an 11 o'clock game, but the Deion Sanders effect wins out again, and we saw why. I mean, the game against Oregon drew 10 million viewers and actually had a higher rating than Notre Dame versus Ohio State. So Fox wants Colorado and Big Noon for obvious reasons, and Michigan and Nebraska to follow. So I think no one's complaining here. I think 2:30 is probably the most preferred kickoff time for everybody because it allows you to get home, allows you to get in the stadium, have a little tailgating, have some fun. So it should be an unbelievable day for college football here at Lincoln.
All right, Nebraska was close before at home trying to knock off the Wolverines. Hopefully they can get it done this weekend.
All right. Hey, thanks, Jason.
You bet. That was Sean Callahan. His thoughts on the Huskers matchup with Michigan coming up this Saturday. This is Husker Chat. We're here every week, and it's brought to you by Acres Equipment. I'm Jason Jorgensen.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Welcome to Fridays in the Field, brought to you by FNBO, the great big small bank. Well, as every year we say, it's been a whirlwind of a growing season, and we're starting to come down to the end when it comes to the forage ones, as farmers are taking a critical measurement of when do they take that last cutting for Old Man Winter and the cold temps will set in. Of course, we're talking again with Steve Rice, SR Farms Alfalfa Company and Husker Hay Haulers. Steve, 2023 has been one for the record books and not in a positive direction. Good news is a little bit of green hay behind us. We talked last just on the precipice of the start of third cutting. Things were a little jumbled. How things went since then?
You know, we had a good run through third cutting. We had real hot, dry weather tail end of August, and we rolled through pretty much all of our third cutting and got some nice hay in the shed. We also have been dealing with trying to get the hay barns put back together. The construction company's been here and they've torn off all the tin and replaced that on the hay sheds in the shop. So to start a fourth, we're in better shape. I'm not near worried about the hay sheds and the condition of that, and we're in better shape for putting up some quality fourth.
So things are finally looking good, and you bring it up right there. Fourth cutting does look like it's going to happen on this go-round. Things are at least looking up a little bit that way. How do you time when to take that fourth cutting to make sure you've got enough regrowth going into winter?
Mother Nature's going to dictate that a lot. It's been that type of a year. We just had a storm last weekend that, last Thursday, a week ago today, it hailed a quarter off into the ground. So that won't get touched. We just cut some yesterday, and then now we're going to be looking at when's it going to freeze. Are we going to get any fifth on some of the stuff that we took earlier? So Mother Nature's going to tell us that, how much regrowth is there, when does it freeze hard and kill it, and then the age of that stand, whether or not we actually want to harvest a fifth or let it go. And I'm guessing that we're probably within, generally speaking, maybe 3 weeks, we'll probably be shutting things down.
Wow, already 3 weeks away. It's amazing just all the things that have been able to happen this year. And, of course, focusing in back to where that third cutting was, you had some fields, they had been hailed, kind of gotten stemmy, had kind of gotten some things off. Now that the third cutting kind of worked for you, has everything caught back up a little bit and a little bit more on time of where we'd expect to see it this time of year?
We're all over the place this year. We had fields that got hammered twice with hail, and then that just set our rotation back farther on that. We had other fields that were extremely drought. So we're all over the place as far as the schedule. Most everything is going to get cut 4 times. I think everything will get cut 4 times. The dry land shut down, so those dry land corners didn't produce anything here on the end of August and fourth cutting in September. But the irrigated, we're going to get a fourth on everything. Maybe a little bit of fifth, but not very much.
So there we go. So it may earn some fifth cutting, but at least there will be some of that fifth cutting there. On the marketing side of it, of course, we're keeping a close eye on it. And dairy quality, that premium quality alfalfa has been hard to come by. Are we just seeing that market continue to climb while feed grade and maybe more cow hay quality is kind of holding down there at a steady?
Yeah, you're seeing a lot more low-end hay in the market this year compared to last year where everybody was just searching for any kind of feed last year. There's going to be quite a bit of that lower-end feed. Dairy quality hay is still in high demand. Doesn't matter, it always is. And you're seeing demand for even some of the lower stock cow quality hay going to Texas. We've been shipping to Texas quite a bit here lately. So it's going to be all over. We're getting some phone calls from Wisconsin again. Even got a call from a deer farmer that is looking for that top end stuff. So there's good demand for good quality hay all the time.
Wow, it's amazing, just all the different type of operations that you're going to be able to go into. With that being said, what do you focus on over the winter months? Is it equipment maintenance? Is it planning in for the next year? What do you do kind of that downtime for a forage farm?
We work on our marketing aspect, try to get this hay marketed. My son and I are going to go up to the World Dairy Expo at Madison, Wisconsin next week with the independent forage growers in Nebraska alfalfa, promote Nebraska alfalfa and talk to our customers that come up there, and we sometimes get to see them there. We will have all of the equipment cleaned up. It will all go through the shop and maintenance, all that. We'll work with our agronomist working on our fertilizer programs and grid sampling and see where we want to be on some of these fields, look at rotational crops when we're going to tear stuff out, and just mainly a lot of maintenance. Everything gets gone through in the winter.
And when it comes to kind of deciding on that, we were talking about that last time. Due to some of this hail, we had a little more weed pressure in some of these fields than what we'd like to see in a lot of times. Are we maybe going to get a chance next spring to get ahead of those weeds with some pre-emergence, or is it something that maybe some fields are going to have to come out a little sooner than you'd typically like?
Between the drought and the hail, we did rotate some fields out quicker than what we probably normally would have. Weed pressure is most definitely there this year on those acres. And we will work, obviously, with our agronomist in putting down pre-emerge herbicides so that we can get control as best we can. We may even try to do 2 applications during the year or something to try to help minimize the weeds, because it's a problem this year.
Well, definitely things we'll be kind of keeping an eye on when it comes into the 2024 growing season. Steve, you have been an incredible host, bringing us onto your farm, letting us see your operation, and a year that's been tough and a year that's been challenging. Any thoughts on Fridays on the Field and being able to be a part of our program this year?
We really appreciate what you guys do. I mean, it was an honor to have you here and show you what we do in the forage industry, and we really appreciate the work that KRVN and Rural Radio does for rural Nebraska and everything, and it was an honor to be on.
And let's not forget as well that as you were talking about the Nebraska Alfalfa Marketing Association, independent forage growers, you're going heading over to Madison, Wisconsin. Tell us what other type of activities are included with that World Dairy Expo as it relates to forage.
Oh, well, there's the Super Bowl of forage. We've competed in that in the past. We did not have an entry this year, but that's involved. You get to see all the seed guys and the equipment is up there. It's quite a show, but it's all tailored around, obviously, dairy, and it's unique to see all of the milking parlors, all the different things that are there, and everybody comes from all over the country. So it's really a great opportunity. We meet customers from Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and Texas, wherever. I mean, a lot of people come there. So it's a great opportunity to put Nebraska alfalfa out there in front of everybody and our business, and it's just a great network to work with.
Well, again, thanks so much for letting us be a part of your operation this year, getting to take a year of a growing season with SR Farms Alfalfa Company. Before I let you go, though, final thoughts, closing comments on the very last one.
Well, it's just really appreciative that you came in to our farm and really appreciate KRVN, and glad that we were able to be a part of it.
And again, it's Steve Rice, SR Farms Alfalfa Company, Husker Hay Haulers, as we are starting to come down to the final weeks of the forage growing season here for 2023. It's Fridays in the Field, brought to you by FNBO, the great big small bank, right here on the Rural Radio Network.
Logos in Gearing is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees, and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gearing.
The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
Tired of feeling stuck? Not sure if you are on the right track? Platte Valley Bank can help keep your finances moving forward with checking account options to fit your lifestyle and an online account chooser to make finding the right account easy. Control your financial future with helpful budgeting tools and automatic savings plans. Now is the time to enjoy the ride with Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
And finally tonight, the deadline is fast approaching for anyone wanting to attend the annual celebration of our area's German-Russian heritage. The German Harvest Fest takes place October 7th in the Vista Beams Event Center at the Scottsbluff County Fairgrounds in Mitchell, but tickets should be purchased no later than Monday. Co-chair Judy Meter says one of the goals of the event is keeping alive the heritage of German Russians that settled in the area.
This is what we've done throughout the years. We've had Dutch hop weddings. Dutch hop dances used to be very popular. They'd have them practically every Saturday night years ago. And it's a heritage that is slowly dying away, and we are working very hard to keep it going in our community because we need to just let people know and have them remember. We want our kids to know. We need the youth to get involved in this.
It's $20 per person, which includes German-Russian favorites of noodle soup and butterballs, cabbage burgers, and Dynakuchen, plus dancing from Bob Schmear and the River Boys. Tickets can be purchased at J.G. Elliott Insurance or at the Scottsbluff County Fair office. Well, that is it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. See you back here on Monday.